This Kona Coco HD here next to me is what I think happens when big bike shop brands try and stem into the world of affordable electric bikes. So in this comprehensive review, we're gonna take a up close look at all the components. We're gonna give that motor's legs a stretch up our hill climb test. Then I'm gonna give you some reasons I think you should and should not consider the Kona Coco HD. But before we get into all that, let's take a closer look. Hey everyone, I'm JT from Ebike Escape, and in this video we're going to take a look at the Kona Coco HD. The Kona comes offered at $19.99. Now, I know what some of you out there are thinking. You said affordable in your intro, and I do have to agree with you that I understand that affordable is a word that does not mean the same thing to everyone, and especially when you compare this bike to maybe some other direct-to-consumer brands, it does not stack up, and you are not wrong. However, there are a lot of things that I think a local bike shop adds, or being able to go to a big box brand like Kona here really offer that you don't find in some direct-to-consumer brands. First one's gonna be you actually have the ability to go into a local bike shop, talk to a knowledgeable bike enthusiast pre-purchase, as well as sit on the physical bike and try out the sizing. Now, on the subject of sizing, the Coco HD here comes offered in 3 different frame sizes, a small, medium, and large. We'll put the height recommendations for all 3 of those models here. Now, along with those 3 frame sizes, there is also a high step variant. The high step variant does have a different model name. It's gonna be called the Do HD. Now, when you go on their website, I did notice there were multiple Do models listed on their website, but the Do HD is the one you're looking for, and I believe that stands for the hub drive, as this is the Coco HD, standing for the hub drive motor. And as well as that model coming in, it comes in a different color. It also has 3 different frame sizes as well. So if you're looking for maybe a bike that goes a little bit higher in the height range, there is also that variation for you. And on the subject of height, this frame is a medium, and it fits me, a 5'7" rider with a 29-inch inseam, very well. Got a lot of room still here in the seat, and I'm able to get full leg extension very easily here. But one nice thing about fitment, being you have those 2 frame sizes, is Kona also has a very nice fitment chart on their website. We'll put a picture of that on the screen now. And within that chart, you should be able to very easily dial in what inseam and height recommendation they have for every bike. Now, along with that local bike shop pre-purchase support, you're also going to get post-purchase support. Now, this is something that direct-to-consumer brands are working on and the industry is shifting away from, being exclusive to certain brands. But as of right now, in the time we are in, getting post-purchase support, say you have a problem, need some troubleshooting, or just some general knowledge, having a local bike shop is an untapped resource out there. And when you purchase a bike from them, you get access to that resource. Just something nice that, again, like I said, some direct-to-consumer brands are still lacking. Now, before we take any of a closer look at this bike, I want to ask everyone 2 quick favors. If you are looking to purchase any Kona model and you don't mind purchasing from the website, even though I just made a big spiel for a local bike shop, but you do decide to purchase from the website, please consider using the link down in the description. All purchases made after clicking those links help support me and Ryan here at Ebike Escape. Thank you guys so much for all of the support. The only reason Ryan and I are able to do this job is because of viewers like you out there. Thank you. And if you are not looking to purchase an electric bike currently, but you still want to show support, you can simply click the subscribe button down below. It's another free way to show us support here and show other brands that we are somebody you like watching. Thank you guys so much again for whichever support you guys can offer out there. Now, let's take a closer look at some of the components. Starting up here in the front, we have to start with the thing that stood out the most to me, besides the yellow frame, and that's going to be the gum sidewall tires. These are WTB Horizon 650B by 47C tires. They have a very nice street tread pattern here on. Then these tires are wrapped around a WTB wheel. These are the SX19 wheels. And because this is a bike shop brand, what you're gonna notice is you're gonna see name brand components throughout the entire bike. They're not really gonna skimp on anywhere. On the inside of the wheels, we have, sticking with the name brand, Tektro hydraulic disc brakes, as well as 180mm Tektro rotors. You also get a very nice quick release here on the front wheel. So if you needed to, say, take the front wheel on and off for transport, you could. And you will notice also on the aluminum fork here, we have some nice branding. You have a couple mounts here for fenders. Kona does not offer fenders, but there are quite a few aftermarket options out there. Here's a look at the Kona on the front down tube, as well as the M. And then something I just wanted to kind of show off with the sun here, this yellow color does actually have quite a bit of flake in it. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera, has a nice little sparkle to it, very nice to see. As we move our way up to the cockpit here, we are greeted to some Tektro hydraulic disc brake levers. We have some non-locking Kona branded grips. We have this bell that comes included in the package, so I went ahead and mounted it underneath so I could easily ring. The display here is very simple power button on the top to turn the bike on. You'll notice there we are greeted to an SR Suntour on the display. We'll go ahead and look at that a little bit closer in the shade in a minute. And then one thing that may not be apparent to everyone, and that's going to be these handlebars. They have a very nice swept back look to them, as well as feel. They put your wrists at a very nice neutral position. I really like the way that they felt when I was riding this bike around a little bit. And then on the right hand side here, you'll notice we are greeted to an 8-speed shifter here. This is a trigger shifter. And then we also have the matching texture lever and non-locking Kona grip. Push down into the shade so we can get a better view of the display here. It's a very simple display. You have one power button on the top, you have an M button here, you have an up and down button down here. You turn the bike on, you are greeted to off, then you have your speed, miles per hour, you have your odometer down at the bottom, and then you have your battery in bars here. And if you want to cycle through some other settings there's in here, you push the M button, and you get the amount of time that you have had the bike on. Then you're greeted to some info. We have our average speed, max speed, total odometer, battery percentage, ARD, and that ARD is actually gonna be your range, and then charge cycles, and then C cycle is gonna be your charge cycles. And then we are back to the front here. So I'm gonna show you that range real quick. Go to Eco, push M twice here, or 3 times, and now it says our range will be 57 miles, and if we were to go up in pedal assist levels, that would of course drop. Oh look, you can do that while you are simply in here. Now the ranges on the bike are Eco, Tour, Sport, and Turbo. This is also still a cadence sensor. And then outside of that display, if you hold the M button, you can actually clean all of the data here. So if you wanted to maybe reset your miles per hour, time the bike has been on, you can simply do that. Now, being that this is a name brand bike from a big bike shop, and this is also an SR Suntour, so from a big name brand, we do not have any throttle, and we also do not have any ability to change the top speed. So this is a hard class 1 e-bike, meaning that there are no options to upclass it via settings. The wiring for the controls up here is very nicely wrapped, and they disappears straight into the down tube here. We have some nice Kona branding on the frame here. You will also notice that there are these 2 mounts down here. These 2 mounts, I believe, are gonna be for a lock, as you will not be able to mount any sort of bottle cage anywhere via the bolts, but we do have a product that we offer in our Ebike Escape store. It simply uses a Velcro strap to mount around some of these bars and stuff, and you can use that to mount a traditional water bottle cage, or you can pick it up in combination with our ABC cage. Here's a look at the rubber charging plug on the side of the bike. We'll talk about the battery towards the end of this walk around. Again, being a big bike shop brand, we expect to see Kona branded pedals, as well as an SR Suntour crank arm here. So that means we're gonna have a crank set from SR Suntour on the other side, a matching Tektro hydraulic disc brake lever in the rear, and kickstand that is nicely located out of the way of the pedals. And on the back of the frame here, it is pretty basic, as there are no fenders or rear rack. However, like I said, there are mounting points for aftermarket options, both there on the frame, and down here for a fender. Let's go ahead and start from the outside and work our way in, starting with the drivetrain, then the motor. Drivetrain, we have a Shimano Tourney TX rear derailleur. Then we have a Shimano cassette, which is an 11 to 32 tooth, 8-speed drivetrain. And then if we work our way up the chain, we have a 38 tooth SR Suntour front chainring. Now that gear may seem a little small to some of you out there that have heard us talk about other e-bikes, but wait till you pay attention to the third-person riding footage. I have to say the gearing on this bike is matched pretty well for the speeds. And then as we work our way in from the drivetrain, that's where we're gonna be greeted to the SR Suntour motor. It is listed as the HESC system. That is the Human Electro Synergy Component System. They have a whole list of e-bike components on their website. This is kind of just the tip of that iceberg. Nice to see name brands getting into these components, offering UL certification and things like that straight out of the box, as well as offering long-term support, being that they are a brand that you're gonna recognize. This motor is listed as a 250 watt motor and is listed to peak somewhere in the 450 range. Now, again, on paper, that may seem a little bit small, but we'll be sure to stretch this motor's legs up our hill climb test. Be sure to stay tuned for that footage. And then powering this rear motor is going to be the battery. Let's go ahead and take a close look at that. So located nicely in the down tube here is gonna be our battery. Now, weirdly enough, this battery is removable, but it is not easily removable. And I say that because you have on the side here, you have a rubber plug that you pull out to access the actual key cylinder for the battery, and you can charge it via the rubber plug we showed on the other side. However, you cannot simply pull this plastic cover off after you unlock this. It's actually bolted on. It has 2 3mm Allen bolts. So you can go ahead and pull those out for you, and I can pull the battery out. Again, removable, but just not super easy removable like we've seen on others. All right. There, that took me about a minute or so just to undo, simply turn the wheel to get out of the way. This panel pops off, nice Kona branding, and there you can see those 2 bolt holes. And then now, once you have the plastic panel off, you take your keys and you pull out this rubber plug on the side and you put the keys in and simply give it a twist. Make sure you have your hand there ready to catch the battery, and the battery slides down and out. Now, this is listed as a Phylon battery. This is an 11.6 amp hour battery, a 36 volt, 11.6 amp hour battery with 417.6 watt hours. On the top here, we have this nice latch system. And then on the bottom, you can simply charge the battery that way. This battery can be charged both on or off the bike. And then on the side here, we also have a 5 LED thing that illuminates. This is a similar battery we've seen on other models. No problems out of them, very nice packs. And then to put the battery back in, you will simply line up your bottom notch and then click your battery in there. Your keys will lock, and then make sure you give the battery a quick push to make sure it comes out. Put your plastic cover back on and throw your 2 bolts back in. Now, while I'm simply bolting this panel back on, let's go ahead and talk about the range numbers for this battery. Now, the range for this battery is typically a good frame of reference is gonna be you take the amp hour rating and you double it, and that's about what the range you would get via throttle. However, on this bike, since you don't have any throttle, you will be able to achieve close to that number, especially if you're riding in those lower pedal assist levels. And you have the range estimate on the display. So the range estimate on the display ranges from 13 and goes all the way up to 50 miles, and that's gonna be if you're riding in the lowest pedal assist level. Very achievable if you're just kind of coasting, riding on a bike path at some slower speeds. Higher speed you go, less range you're gonna get, of course. And one other component as we work our way up, that I should call it before we give this motor a good test in riding, is gonna be this Kona branded seat. You get the nice words Kona written across the top, as well as Kona on the side. This is a very sleek, slender seat, very mountain bike inspired or road inspired. Overall, fairly comfortable, no complaints. But it is certainly not gonna be the cushiest seat that I have ever sat on. With all those components out of the way, how does the bike ride? How does it pedal? Let's find out. All right, here we are, riding portion of the Kona Coco review. First thing I have to say, seating position on this bike. I love that there's frame size options. This bike fits me very nicely. These handlebars have like a perfect swept back, like put me in a very comfortable position. Very cognizant of as if I'm riding a bike, not just an e-bike. It feels very normal. I've got it in off right now. I'm not using any pedal system. I'm just pedaling, enjoying it. The gearing on the bike, I think, is pretty perfectly set. Wait till we get to some of the riding portion. Now, the Kona Coco is going to come as a class 1 e-bike, and that's going to be because it is hard held at that 20 mile per hour limit, and there is no throttle. So everything on this bike is going to feel kind of more like an acoustic bike. This is going to be a great bike if you are a cyclist or you like your local bike shop and you're just trying to get into an e-bike to maybe help you get up some of those steeper hills or extend your commute a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. First level of pedal assists is going to be Eco, and we are in pedal assist level 1. And what I've kind of found is that the pedal assist levels on this bike will give you power. It's a set amount of power, and it kind of senses how hard you're pedaling, and it kind of amplifies it a little bit. And there's like a top amount of power it's going to give you. So they're not speed capped like we've seen on some bikes, where it's like, oh, pedal assist level 1 is going to take you to 6 miles an hour. Pedal assist level 2 is going to help you to 10. It's not going to be the case on this bike. This bike is going to give you access to varying degrees of amounts of power, not going to be speed capped. So let's go ahead and show you exactly what I mean by that. So we are in Eco right now, in gear 1 on the right. We go ahead and shift using this nice trigger shifter on the right hand side. And I'm going to provide more effort with my legs. I'm in 5th, 6th. Here, we'll go ahead and let me get myself up to speed here. 7th. And now we are in the top gear, and I am doing a decent amount of effort on my legs, and I am in 16, 17 miles an hour here. And if I provide a little bit more power, I still feel the bike giving me some motor, but it's just I'm at that max amount of power it's going to give me. So, but if I kick it up to tour now, pedal assist level, I felt the motor come on, give me that little bit extra amount of power. Now I'm able to go, look, 17, 18. The display over here on the bike says 19, 20. There you go. And yeah, it looks like, yeah, so 20 miles an hour there. Pretty easily, and that was in Tour or Eco. So now one way I've found to maybe extend some of the range on this bike is that you use the higher pedal assist levels to maybe get off the line. And then once you get up to whatever speed you're going to be cruising at, you simply turn down your pedal assist level to maybe conserve power, because you don't need all that extra power to get up. You need all that extra power to get up to speed, but you don't need it to hold you there. So you can kind of turn it down. So if you say maybe want to cruise at 18, 19 miles an hour, kick up the turbo, get there, turn down the pedal assist level to maybe Tour, save some of that battery. So kick it up now to Sport, same amount of pressure for my legs, same gear.
12, 13, I have to shift up there to 6th. And yeah, it just kind of kicks up. It very much feels like a torque sensor bike, which is nice. Again, torque sensor bikes are simply more approachable because they actually measure the amount of effort you're giving in. And if you're an avid bike rider, it's interesting because the camps between torque sensor and cadence sensor are very split. If you are somebody who enjoys cycling or was a cycler for a long time, you're going to enjoy a torque sensor because it feels more natural, whereas a cadence sensor is more like an on-off switch. And people that love torque sensors love torque sensors. People that love cadence sensors love cadence sensors. If you go through the comments on our videos on the various types of bikes, you'll get one person saying, oh, if only it was a torque sensor. Oh, if only it was a cadence sensor. It's all personal preference. We do wish that maybe more bikes had the option to pick between which sensor you wanted to use that day. So again, here, sport 14 miles an hour. And here we go, kick it up to turbo now. Here's what I would like to show you. So I'm in turbo right now. I don't have a lot of bike path left, but I'm gonna probably go down to the middle gear range here, about 3rd. We're gonna go ahead and slow it all the way down. Let's show you how fast it does get up to 20 miles an hour if you want to. Here we go, 8, 9, 4th, 5th. There you go, we are almost up to 20 miles an hour very quickly. And it just zooms right up to that without any problem. And there, the bike is gonna hold you right about 20 miles an hour. And if I kick down pedal assist levels, so now I'm down to sport 18. I'm providing a little bit extra effort from my legs here, but I kick down the pedal assist level. It is still going to provide me with the amount of power I need to stay at that speed, because really all that turbo is giving you is extra speed at the beginning to really get up to that higher speed. Now, before we throw it to our hill climb footage, one thing I did want to touch on is that the gearing on this bike, it's 8 gears. It is almost perfectly picked via this front chainring and everything for this bike to be able to pedal from that slowest speed at walking speed all the way up to that 20 mile per hour point. So when you get up to 20 miles an hour here, I'm going to kick turbo so I can get there real quick. I'll get all the way up into 8th. I'm providing power now, 15, 16, 17, 18, still providing pressure from my legs. And right here at about 19, 20 miles an hour, if I move my legs a little bit faster here, easily get up there. And then I'm just have a little bit of pressure off my legs. So like the gearing is perfect. What I mean by that is that right here at 20 miles an hour, I'm ghost pedaling. And then as the speed drops down to that 18 mile per hour point, I'm providing pressure from my legs again. So really there's no spot on this bike in the gear range where I'm ghost pedaling, ridiculously. This front chainring is not the largest we've seen. And the rear gear set is an 11 to 32. So there's a nice amount of range in there. You get that extra, 8th gear. And again, like I said, 18 miles an hour turbo right now, able to just kind of keep the bike right at that speed with ease. And so the gearing is a very good choice on this bike. So it's what we would kind of expect from a bike shop brand, is that they would know which gearing was perfect for the riding conditions that they intend for this bike. So overall, this bike handles pass very easily and flat ground, but how does that 250 watt motor handle me, a 225 pound rider, up our hill climb? Let's go find out.
All right, here we are at the hill climb portion of the Kona Coco review. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I am very interested to see how this motor does. It felt very capable when I was on the path doing the pedaling portion, and now I'm curious how it's going to do up our hill climb test, as this is definitely not one of the biggest motors that we have ever tried. So this bike, like I said earlier in the review, is a class 1 e-bike, meaning no throttle and a hard cap at 20 miles an hour. So here we go, going up the hill. I shifted it down into eco for pedal assist level. And I am probably, once this hill really starts, gonna have to kick it up fairly quickly here. So let's go ahead and get into our easiest gear here. We are in gear 1 here on the shifter. And we're doing about 6 miles an hour. Yep, still, again, about 6 miles an hour. 5, it's gonna continue to drop here. And I'm putting in a decent amount of effort with my legs here. I could make it up like this, but I would probably kick it up now. Here you go. Tour, there we go. Felt a little bit more power come on. Pressure came off the legs a little bit. Still gear 1. I do not feel the need to upshift. It's still a decent amount of effort. You can hear I'm not out of breath at all, but definitely putting in some pressure with my legs. Go kick it up to sport here. And there we go. Felt a little bit more power. Again, it's a very gradual amount of power. It's a very easy amount of power, and it's not a lot, at least not all at once. So we're still maintaining that 6 miles an hour here. And yeah, still would be in gear 1 here. Kick it up again one more time to the top pedal assist level. Here we are in turbo. And again, just a slight amount more power
But keeping that 6 miles an hour, yeah, it's a decent amount of effort, but it's making up the hill under its own power. I'm not putting in too much effort. So yeah, still gear 1, would not need to upshift in any of the pedal assist levels. So overall, capable bike, definitely gonna live up to its kind of ethos where it's going to help you just a little bit get around. It's gonna be a good first step for an e-bike, first step into an e-bike rather, from someone who is maybe coming out of or coming off of a road bike or another commuter style bike. It's very easy to approach and very easy to ride. Yeah, overall, nice bike. One thing we do want to test, that I like to test, and I have a lot of faith in, is going to be these Tektro hydraulic disc brakes. So let's go ahead and loop her back down. We're going to go down the hill. Here we go. We're going to get up to about 20 miles an hour here and hit those brakes hard. Yep. Oh, there we go. Fighting to keep it up there. No problem. Getting all those brakes nice and hot. I'm going to give it one more shot here going down. See if I can cook the brakes real quick or see if they're going to slow me down quickly again. 22, 23 miles an hour. Yep. Having to play with the brakes there to keep them from locking up. There we go. And for just one more time for good effort. Tektro hydraulic disc brakes again. There we go. Nope. They didn't bake. They didn't cook. They stopped me every single time. No problems. Yep, you can smell them. They're nice and hot now. But overall, great brakes. Definitely going to keep this bike slowed down. Overall, it's a nicely featured bike. So let's go ahead, start you some third-person riding footage. You can see how I fit on this medium-sized frame. And I'll give you my concluding thoughts of whether I think you should or should not consider the Kona Coco HD.
The Kona Coco HD is an e-bike that stands out not just because of its striking love it or hate it yellow color, but also as it demonstrates the results of years of traditional bike manufacturing and expertise applied to an e-bike design. The Coco HD is a simple function over form e-bike that, thanks to name brand componentry, should keep going for the years to come. Not something that we can say about every e-bike that we review. And in the event that something does go wrong, Kona stands out from other direct-to-consumer brands by having almost 600 local bike shops that can offer not only post-purchase support, but even pre-purchase support if you need it. At $19.99, the Kona Coco HD does come with a higher price tag than other similarly spec'd bikes from DTC brands. But it was on sale at time of recording, so be sure to check the link down below for the best current pricing. So what are you getting for that price over other e-bikes out there? First has to be that dealer network that I hinted at before. That local bike shop support can prove invaluable in certain situations. Second, having the knowledge that the design is backed by a big brand like Kona and was designed for this purpose and is not just simply a rebranded frame. And one of the biggest things that sets big brands like Kona apart from other direct-to-consumer brands has to be the offerings of different frame sizes. Many direct-to-consumer brands often overlook this and tend to stick with a one-size-fits-most frame. But with this Kona, you get multiple size options, and even furthering that fit, you get both the step through of the Coco, and there's even a high step offering of the Do HD, allowing for even a more tailored fit to you, the end rider. But that latter part is not something that we only see from big brands. Many direct-to-consumer brands also do this. Now, Kona being a big box brand, they are also focused more on making an e-bike for your average cyclist, i.e. someone upgrading from an acoustic bike, which is why the Coco HD is a strict Class 1 e-bike, meaning that there is a lack of a throttle and a hard limit on that top speed at just 20 miles per hour. Keep in mind that this small 36 volt, 250 watt nominal, 450 watt peak SR Suntour motor did effortlessly propel me up our hill climb test once I got into the higher pedal assist levels, meaning that this bike does what other direct-to-consumer brand e-bikes do with 3 to 4 times the power. But all while maintaining an approachable demeanor, ideal for someone that's really new to e-bikes, and something that's not often talked about, e-bike classing regulations and trail access. Thanks to that Class 1 nature of the Coco HD, it's not likely to be affected in the future if restrictions are placed on certain trail accesses, due to that lower throttleless classing. And rounding out the SR Suntour drive system is that 36 volt, 418 watt hour battery, which, given this price point, it would be nice to see something maybe a little bit bigger or even UL certified. Now, rounding out that function over form design, the Coco HD has a basic OLED display, tried and true Tetra hydraulic disc brakes, and an 8-speed Shimano drivetrain, which is worth noting was perfectly spec'd for pedaling up to that top speed of 20 miles per hour without any ghost pedaling. And while simple is a great design philosophy for most, it does leave the Coco HD feeling a bit incomplete. The lack of fenders, a rear rack, and even lights means that you are likely to have to spec your bike out a bit more after purchasing. And the display, while simple and easy to operate, also does not have any ability to be tuned up, meaning that you're stuck really at that 20 mile per hour limit. And the lack of a throttle is something that we know from experience receives mixed reviews from customers. And if the Coco HD was equipped with a throttle, would eat through that very small 418 watt-hour battery charge rather quickly. So if you value having local bike shop support, are looking for an easy, approachable e-bike, then the Kona Coco HD is a great model for you to consider. If you'd like to pick up your own Kona Coco HD or Do HD, please consider using a link down in the description. There's a free and easy way to show support to us here at E-Bike Escape. Thank you all so much in advance for the continued support. So what do you think? Does the Kona Coco HD have enough redeeming factors to justify that higher price? Is local bike shop support something that's important to you as a customer? Let us know in the comments down below. Ride safe, everyone, and I will catch you all in the next one.